double-A ball.
And Sundberg goes down on strikes. So number 7 for Cox, who has struck out 3 of the last 4 men he has faced. And up comes Biancalana, and there is Todd Worrell throwing in the bullpen. So the one thing Cox has done is he's gotten Herzog to the point where he can go to his top guys. Not thinking about long men. Andujar was the long man early. I mentioned, too, that Daly was in Herzog's plans as a long man. McCann is also the kind of guy who's available all night long. He can come in as a short man as well. And in the bullpen for KC, it's Quisenberry throwing. Even though neither pitcher looks like he's in need of relief, this is the World Series, and it's Game 6, and you get him up early. As Biancalana hits one to right center for a base hit. Balboni will stop at second, and now, of all things, Howser has to send up the pitcher, Liebrand.
He doesn't have to.
Or does he? We'll find out.
He's got Hal McRae in the dugout for a situation just like this. Hal McRae, of course, against John Tudor the other night, grounded out with the bases loaded and 2 out.
And this is why I hate the DH.
Yep.
And it's not worth getting into a whole discussion of it right now, but think of what Howser had to think about right now. No score, World Series, need a victory. What do I do? A pitcher who's pitching brilliantly, an inconsistent but terrific in the past relief pitcher. I've got to send the pitcher up.
If you're not going to pitch hit for Liebrand here, what was Quisenberry doing up?
0-1 the count. Yeah, I'm thinking of an answer here. If the man gets the third, maybe? Nah, that wouldn't make any difference with 2 out. I don't know. Not with 2, that's what I'm saying, yeah. 0-2 the count.
Well, you know, if you stayed with Liebrand in the second game, and the way he's throwing tonight, which is really just as good or maybe better.
And down he goes on a half swing for strike 3. So Cox strikes out the side in between a walk and a single. And 7 left for the Royals tonight, to the 8th in a scoreless Game 6. There's Liebrand's line as we go to the 8th inning, a scoreless game. And earlier I visited with Charlie.
Do you feel at all maybe jinxed the way things have been going?
Well, I don't know. I've been fortunate enough to pitch some pretty good ball games. If I can do that again, I think my chances should be a little bit better. Maybe with Quiz out in the bullpen, we might come to him a little bit earlier. I don't know, but I still felt confident even late into the ball game. I know it's going to enter my mind if I'm fortunate enough to get that far into the 9th, but I haven't had too much success in 9th innings. But I still felt my stuff was good. I still felt confident I was going to get out. I just couldn't get out. Hopefully this will be different.
Well, we'll find out. No score with Landrum, Pendleton, and Cedeno in the top of the 8th inning. Landrum fouling it away, and the count is 0-2. Landrum has twice flied to right. To the count. Brett again guarding the line, back of the bag at third. Balboni guarding the line at first. To center field, Willie Wilson is right there. And Tito Landrum is 0 for 3. 1 away. Pendleton the batter. The Cardinals have 2 hits tonight, and neither was what you'd call a solid hit. A fly ball to left field by Cedeno that fell in front of Smith, and a looper to right by Porter that came successively in the 6th inning.
Cardinals team average during the series is 196 coming into this game, and the Red Sox back in 1918 won the series in 6 games with a 186 average.
That's grounded into the hole for a base hit, and so Pendleton, who had been getting pretty quiet, makes a little bit of noise. A single to right with 1 out in the 8th inning, and Cedeno coming up.
Well, this is the way you have to hit Charlie Liebrand. You have to go with the pitch. Goes right out and gets it, doesn't try to pull it. Tim's alluded all night to Ozzie Smith and other Cardinal hitters trying to go out and get that ball and pull it. You can't do it and be successful.
Cedeno struck out, broke up the perfect game with a 6th inning single. Pendleton at first base. You know, he sort of left unanswered that question of why Quisenberry was up in the bullpen if Howser didn't bring him in, as you look at Herzog. And wouldn't Vidal Sassoon like to get a hold of Whitey, by the way. But I guess as the throw goes to first base, what Howser wanted was at least to have the option, and I'm sure did not make the decision until he was confronted with that particular situation. There was some question perhaps in his mind as the inning developed, and he wanted to be able to go either way. And then he just simply opted at the last moment for Leibrandt to hit with 2 on and 2 out.
Also, I talked to Dan, and he said a lot of pitchers can just get up and start throwing. He has to stretch, and he has to throw, and sometimes his arm is stiff, and he has not gotten as much work as he normally gets. So it's maybe getting ready for the next time he'll have to get up.
0-1 the count.
If the count evens up, if this next pitch is a ball, I would look for Pendleton to run. Pendleton with good speed. He has 17 stolen bases on the regular season. Cedeno, a contact hitter, the bottom of the order coming up. All the elements are there for a hit and run, but not on this pitch.
When do you pitch out?
Well, that's the thing. The danger of the pitch out is greater when the pitcher is ahead of the hitter because you can afford to waste one. We'll see.
1-1.
Talk about a hit and run, and what you try to do is get the middle infielders to move, create a hole that might not be there.
If you're a runner at first base, you cannot be picked off in a hit and run situation. Same is true if the count's 3-2 and less than 2 out, and you're the runner at first. You're much more deliberate in your lead.
You're looking at catcher Jim Sundberg, looking over at Dick Howser. They do have 4 signs.
Pitch out, 2-1.
Dick Howser controls the pitch outs. I'll tell you, I'd have pitched out then too. Sometimes you do it and you're just wrong. But now he's behind, and you may see the hit and run in order right here.
I think he's going.
I do too.
James?
I concur.
Bet your house on it.
Or Sheridan's house, it's still for sale. He doesn't go. 2-2. Well, there goes the mortgage and everything else, and the furnishings.
Mine too.
Yeah. I mean, oh, too bad about Pat Sheridan. He just lost his house for it.
Well, the other night we all thought that they should have been running first and second with nobody out, and had they been running, it wouldn't have been a double play.
That's right.
On the Pendleton to Her play in St. Louis. 2-2 the count. I still think he's going here. Nope, he stays, and it's inside, and they throw back to first, not in time. So now it's 3-2.
Well, he's got to be running here. 3-2 and 1 out and good speed. Pendleton going out to check the dirt at first base. Close play at first base. Pendleton diving back, and Balboni with that quick tag. Good throw by Sundberg, but he's safe.
I say he's going. You say he's going.
Yeah.
Jim? All right, bet that hotel room that you moved into after you lost the house. 3-2 with 1 out.
Same situation, 3-2, 1 out. You cannot be picked off. It's up to the hitter to put the ball in play.
Leibrandt with an excellent move, had 8 pickoffs this year.
Pitch is low, and it's first and second. 2 on, 1 out, and now Porter is coming up with a pitcher due up after Darrell.
Well, 0-0. You can't make a pitch in the middle of the plate. Just misses on the inside part of the plate. Ball 4.
Meanwhile, in the bullpen, Quisenberry and Black are up. Quisenberry, the right-hander, and Buddy Black, the starter, who is naturally working out of the bullpen under these circumstances. And in the Cardinal bullpen, Ken Daly has gotten up, the left-hander, because Herzog will have a decision to make if Porter can't get the man in.
We talked about in the pregame show, Charlie Lee ran through 140 pitches last time he pitched. 0-0 game. Every pitch can mean the ball game. You've got to be a little bit tired.
Strike, 0-1.
A lot different pitching a 0-0 game, a 2-1, a 1-0 ball game. The other 2 Kansas City wins, 6-1, 6-1. Make a mistake, it doesn't seem that monumental.
And Porter rips it foul, and the count is 0-2. Last time Lebrand had first and second, 1 out. He got Ozzie Smith to hit into a double play. Howser looking at the lineup card, knowing the pitcher comes up next, knowing that Herzog, if Porter doesn't get Pendleton home, has a choice to make. Similar to the one Dick had to make, but Whitey has more options. He's got a much deeper bullpen, and Cox gave him the 7 innings that he wanted. So whereas Howser opted for Lebrand, I tend to feel Herzog with that deep bullpen would opt for a pinch hitter. Strike 3 called.
Jim, you mentioned earlier that when a catcher moves off the plate away, if a pitcher's been having good control throughout the game, he'll get that pitch. And that's the reason that Darrell Porter was struck out on that particular pitch. That ball was right there, and now Whitey Herzog has gone to Brian Harper.
Harper, the right-handed pinch hitter, came up only 52 times this year and batted .250 with 8 runs batted in. So again, because of the flexibility and the maneuverability, and Daly now throwing in the bullpen, and keep in mind he has 5 men who work out of the bullpen, 3.5 of whom he would bring in here, and I say 3.5 meaning Horton as the half a guy. You know Worrell, you know Lottie, and you know Daly, with Pendleton at second and Cedeno at first, and Horton maybe to 1 batter. Campbell's more of a long man, and that's why he can afford to lift his pitcher more so than Howser in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Also, we talked about losing Vince Coleman. Got to think that Tito Landrum will be batting right here. 391 on the year, second best pinch hitter in the National League, but because of Coleman's absence, you have to send somebody else up there.
Brian Harper was the fellow who came over in that deal with Pittsburgh along with Tudor. He was the other guy in a deal that sent George Hendrick and a minor leaguer to Pittsburgh. Now, the Pirates, as you all know, had a terrible year, and think about that trade. Ugh. Fouled again, so he's jammed him twice, and the count is 0-2.
George Hendrick wound up with the California Angels. As you see Brian Harper trying to fight off this slider on the fist. And once again, Lebrand ahead, 0-2.
2 on, 2 out. By the way, struck out only 3 times this season in 52 at-bats. A little little soft looper, and it's into center for a base hit, and the Cardinals take the lead. And Charlie Lebrand has to be talking to himself.
Well, he just missed away. Tries to come back up and in. Not hit very hard, but hit hard enough. Right off the fist.
Watch the reaction by Brian Harper when this ball falls.
So the Cardinals lead it 1-0, and Ozzie Smith is at the plate with Cedeno at second and Harper at first. And that's a strike. In the bottom of the inning, it's the top of the order for KC. Smith, Wilson, and Brett.
This is the time when it's most difficult for a pitcher. Emotionally, it's always a roller coaster. Your heart's down by your knees. Your disappointment is unparalleled. But the only way you have a chance to win the ball game is if you get the next hitter out.
All of the runs that Lebrand has given up, the 4 last Sunday and the 1 here tonight, have been given up with 2 out.
And Sundberg goes to the mound. That's a good thing to do, I think, right now, because you're down 1-0, and another base hit, and it's 2-0, and Blaylock's going to the mound. It's so visible, and how can you blame Lebrand? If this happened isolated, you could feel for the guy. And yet you've all watched him now throughout the playoffs and going back to last year. And the miserable luck he's had. Meanwhile, Andy Van Slyke now comes out of the dugout to run for Cesar Cedeno. After the count had gone to 1-1, Herzog makes the change. And Van Slyke naturally will stay in the game and play right field.
Thoughts are, when am I going to catch a break? No doubt you feel sorry for yourself, but on the other hand, as you said, you can't let the game get out of control.
Yeah, because those tack-on runs can be the difference. Got to stop them right here, and that obviously is what Lebrand's trying to do.
2-1. And now it's 2-2 on Ozzie.
If the Cardinals go on to win this game 1-0 and don't get 3 or 4 more hits, they will have the lowest team batting average in the history of the World Series to be a winner. Amazing.
Just inside, and Sundberg not only trying to frame the pitch, and Howser is furious with Jim Quick. If he comes out to argue, then he's out of the game.
Well, he goes back. Brett was up earlier. Similar pitch.
Ooh. Ooh. And that's the most emotion you've ever seen from Dick Howser. Because he knows now the runners are going. It's 3-2. That was a vital pitch. And it's high, so the bases are loaded for Willie McGee. And Howser is just seething, but he has to maintain his composure. He's going to the mound, and that second visit will mean exit Lebrand and enter Quisenberry or Black, depending on which way Howser wants McGee to hit, and Willie has been remarkably consistent from both sides this year. Just an 8-point differential, so you're not doing him a favor by making him bat from either side. And Lebrand will come out to a no doubt thunderous ovation. But on the debit side again, and the signal goes to the right-hander, Quisenberry. So McGee will bat left-handed. The bases loaded. Listen to the hand. We'll return after this from your local station. Dan Quisenberry comes in with the Cardinals on top 1-0. Whitey Herzog making another move as you look at Charlie Leibrandt watching Quiz try to get out of the rest of this jam. Andy Van Slyke, the runner at third, and Harper has been taken out for the pinch runner. Tom Lawless makes his first postseason appearance. He's at second. Ozzie Smith at first. The bases loaded and 2 out, and McGee at the plate. McGee 0 for 3. Foul back, 0-1. Again, in the bottom of the inning, Lonnie Smith, Wilson, and Brett. The top 3 for KC.
Quisenberry, once he got ahead, just showing him that fastball inside, because the sinker ball pitcher to a left-handed hitter has to keep the ball away, generally speaking, to be effective.
That's grounded toward the middle. White is there. It goes the short way to Biancalana. So Frank ranges back of second, and the National League batting champion retired on a force.
And a good play by Frank White over to Biancalana to give the Kansas City Royals life.
Andy Van Slyke is now in right field. He came in as the pinch runner, and the pitcher is Ken Daly. Daly's numbers there for this, his first full season in the major leagues. He had been up and down with Atlanta, then came over to the Cards last year, pitched for 4 different teams in '84, and has begun to come into his own now. And the left-hander comes in here. And how does Herzog, and we've talked about how he uses his bullpen, how does he decide on Daly over Worrell and Lottie here? One of the reasons is he wants the left-hander to face the top of the order for Kansas City. He'd rather have Wilson bat right-handed than lefty, and he'd rather have Brett have to face a left-handed pitcher. So that pretty much is the determination as to why Daly is in here now.
So even if there is a 3-up and 3-down inning, Todd Worrell may finish the ball game, work the bottom of the 9th inning. Matter of fact, I think he's up right now in the bullpen.
He is. Lonnie Smith, who was 1 for 3 against Cox. 0-1. There is Todd. Boy, he has thrown 2 good fastballs. 95 is what the gun says on that one.
We haven't seen his curveball yet. He's got a great hook.
Wonder if we'll see it here. No. Another fastball, and it's still 0-2.
Well, it's what we talked about, a similar case late in the season, pitching against the New York Mets. He throws a great curveball at Darryl Strawberry, and the next one goes off the clock, which is about 450 feet. You throw 2 fastballs by a guy, in this situation, you usually want to get beat with your best pitch.
1-2.
Another thing, when you've seen another team play for 6 games, if you're doing your homework out in the bullpen, which I'm sure Ken Daly's doing, you know that Lonnie Smith's an aggressive hitter. He is a high ball hitter, but when he swings through 2 fastballs, you know he will maybe go for another one.
And down he goes. A foul tip on a check swing, and it's held by Porter. And Smith is angry, contending he did not foul tip it. And Ferraro has to sprint down from third to get Smith away.
Willie Wilson.
Well, let's see if he didn't foul tip it. Did he go around? Leads with the hands through the strike zone. He really went too far. I mean, it's a strike whether he foul tipped it or not.
Yep. And it wasn't that far out of the zone.
Right.
Wilson takes low. He might have been out on 3 counts. A half swing, a called strike, and a foul tip. But the frustration showing right there, and that's why he barked it quick. 2-0 on Wilson with Brett on deck.
And you notice Pendleton off the line. It's just a matter of, as you see George Brett on deck, Pendleton off the line, Jack Clark off the line, and they weren't playing Lonnie Smith off the line, on the line either. 1-run ball game in the 8th.
It's a matter of philosophy.
You know, when you think about it, if you play Willie Wilson on the line and he gets a single, chances of him stealing second base are great anyway. So in effect, Wilson, a single is a double for him. So playing off the line, in my opinion, is the proper thing to do now.
Except would a single be a double with Brett on deck in this situation? What do you think?
With the left-hander up. Well, that's an arguable point.
Well, I don't think it would be, because you got to have a lot of guts to walk the winning run to first base, even if it is George Brett.
That's a strike, and now it's 3-2.
Well, if you walk Brett to first base and Wilson steals, then you got Todd Worrell pitching to Frank White. A lot of things could happen, depending on whether Wilson gets on or not, of course.
And it's high, ball 4. Woo, what a pitch to take, 3-2.
Again, during the regular season, you just go down to first. Tonight, there's been a lot of high strikes. Wilson knows that it's a ball. Would have done a complete snap if that was called a strike.
George Brett.
We talked about George Brett, the situation hitter. This situation, he's looking for a ball he can pull, a ball he can drive.
And instead he gets a picture-perfect strike on the corner.
George asking the umpire, a lot of times, we talked about earlier, a good hitter wants to know what the strike zone is. He said it got in the corner, he said, yep, so next time if it's out there, you're probably going to see him swing.
Looks like he's sticking with his fastball. He has not thrown a breaking ball yet. Struck out Lonnie Smith on all fastballs and 2 straight fastballs to Brett after throwing a 3-2 fastball to Willie Wilson. So he's going to stick with the heat, it appears.
Could be the Darryl Strawberry syndrome. Some guys are fast learners. We talked about bat speed. You throw a fastball by a guy like Brett and come back with a hanging curveball, the chances are he's going to have one heck of a swing.
And he struck him out. And did that silence the crowd? The anticipation and then the dead silence.
Reggie Jackson and I were talking about this very thing before the ball game. The easiest pitch for a left-handed hitter to hit off a left-handed pitcher all things considered equal, is a curveball. And that's why Powder River is usually your best pitch, because you don't give a left-handed hitter a chance to adjust to a pitch, whereas a curveball you do.
So Herzog has opted for Daly to stay in to face White because he knows what kind of stuff Ken has. He has Worrell throwing in the bullpen. And Brett got on. As you look at Herzog, he had Worrell to come in to face the righty if he wanted him here, but Daly throwing so hard, striking out Smith, striking out Brett, and nearly striking Wilson out. Whitey leaves him in to face the right-hand batter. And that's fouled back, right back toward us. 1-1.
Alfalfa, you displayed some tremendous quickness.
I do know how to get under the table. One ball, one strike the count. 2 down, bottom of the 8th inning. 1-0 Cardinals. Wilson at first base.
Just a matter of time, one would think, with 2 out, when Willie Wilson is going to run. Darrell Porter out to talk to Daly now. That also might be one of the reasons that Todd Worrell is not in there with Wilson at first base. Worrell does not have as good a move as the left-hander, and even though Daly hadn't thrown over there, the very fact that he's a left-hander has kept Wilson at first.
Willie thought about going and hesitates, and it's a fly ball to center field and a lot of room for McGee. And we'll go to the 9th inning. Brian Harper driving in the game's only run with a 2-out single in the 8th. At the end of 8th, 1-0 St. Louis. Beautiful shot of Royal Stadium, and a reminder tomorrow morning at 10:30 Eastern, and that's 7:30 out on the left coast, the New York City Marathon on ABC. 9th inning, 1-0 Cardinals. Tommy Herr to lead things off against Dan Quisenberry. Herr, Clark, and Landrum. And then in the bottom of the 9th inning, Sheridan is due up. But remember, with Daly in the game, you can forget about Sheridan if Daly stays in. Balboni and Sundberg to follow. Tommy Herr takes outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count. 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors for the Cards. No run, 7 hits, and no errors for the Royals. If the Cardinals do win and don't score more than 1 run here in the 9th inning, they will have gone 53 innings in the World Series, with 1 multiple run inning, the 9th in Game 2, and won the World Series, and that's almost impossible. And
they'll be the first team since 1948 to have a player, and that's Tommy Herr, who drove in over 100 during the season and didn't respond during the World Series with an RBI. A lot of weird offensive stats after this series, if it remains the same, of course.
2-1 the count. It's one of those series where the box scores in latter years won't mean anything. That's a broken bat bouncer down to Balboni for the out. What people will remember if this World Series ends tonight are some visual images that have nothing to do with the box scores. Brett going into the dugout would be one, and Lebrand
going into the dugout.
Oh yes,
will be another.
Absolutely.
No asterisks to explain that maybe one of the reasons their ball club, talking about Kansas City, got here in the first place was because of the DH, and 17% of their runs were scored by that position. And there's absolutely no help from that position once they got here.
0-1 the count on Clark. 1 out. Bases empty. The Royals certainly have had their chances tonight, and in fact, George Brett has come up in a couple of situations where you want him up and just hasn't produced. 0-2 the count. There is George, who tonight struck out with a man at third in the first inning, so he couldn't bring home Lonnie Smith with 1 out. He opened the 4th inning by flying out. Then he came up with Wilson aboard in the 6th inning and hit into a double play, and they had him up there with Wilson on in the 8th inning. And 1 out, and he struck out. So they've had their chances and haven't cashed. They've left 7. And Clark is down on strike. So there are 2 down, and Landrum is the batter. If the Cardinals win, it would be their 10th World Series championship. And we pointed out earlier this week, only the Yankees have won more, 22. The Royals have never won one. Born in '69, they lost the series in their only other appearance in '80. On the subject of visual images that we'll recall, how about Landrum's performance the first couple of nights? The first 4, in fact.
How about Landrum's throw in game 2? The 2 plays at the plate. Both very important. Actually 3 at the plate.
Brett Saberhagen in the dugout.
Oh, yeah.
Asking how Janine is.
That's a little squibber, and Brett lets it roll and falls down. Slipping down, it turns out to be a foul ball. John Tudor, he's so stoic that his performance and his face as you watch Brett fall down doesn't lend itself to remembering through the years Tudor's performance, but what he has done really speaks for itself.
He's worked 15 2/3 innings, and he's 2-0 against the Royals.
One ball, 2 strikes the count. And that's a little nubber, and Sundberg will have to play this one, throw, and doesn't get him. Landrum beats it out.
Pounds it into the ground. It's going to be a great play by Sundberg, but it also illustrates that Landrum can run. Right on the money. Beats it by a half a step. Make that play much better. You're a catcher.
Now Pendleton, who's base hit with 1 out in the 8th inning, led to the Cardinal run. He singled, Cedeno walked, and then with 2 out and 2 strikes, Harper softly singled to center.
Another running situation for the Cardinals. Going to pick up that extra run. The yardstick almost to see whether a runner is going is whether his right foot is out on the carpet. Landrum just about there, but not quite.
Fly ball to center field. Quisenberry does his job, and the Royals have 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning to work with. 1-0 St. Louis after 8 1/2. In the bottom of the 9th inning, with Ken Daly working for St. Louis, Darryl Motley, the right-hand batter, will lead things off. Then Balboni and Sundberg. In the bullpen, the Cardinals with their 2 right-handers, Todd Worrell on the left and Jeff Lottie on the right. 1-0 St. Louis. The Cardinals 3 outs away from giving Whitey Herzog a 2nd World Championship in 4 seasons. And time is called right now as Herzog, after the announcement is made that Motley is in the game, walks to the mound. And he wants the right-hander. So with Motley in the game, he wanted to make sure he was announced. And he wants Worrell, who struck out the 6 men he faced in Game 5. And we can tell you, since we have a moment, this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Todd Worrell, and the story is well known now, but it's worth repeating under these circumstances. You begin the season in AAA in Louisville, Kentucky, in the American Association as Daly departs, and you're pitching in the minors, and you're not traveling first class or charter, and you're not staying in real good hotels, and you're not eating real good food because your meal money won't cover it. And somebody says in the middle of the season, we want to make you a relief pitcher, and then all of a sudden you get called up in August, and here you are trying to win the World Series. I spoke with him earlier.
In your role right now and the type of pitcher you are, a power pitcher, do you come into the game just seeking an out, or do you come in seeking a strikeout?
It depends on the situation. Being a power pitcher, and especially the situation I was in the last time I pitched in Cardinals Stadium, I wasn't going for strikeouts. You know, we were down 4-1. My main concern was shutting the door on the Royals and trying to give our guys a chance to rally on 3 runs. You know, I really couldn't afford to let them have another 1 or 2 runs, else that, you know, Jackson was pitching a great game. You know, he deserved a lot of credit for his performance, and I knew if they got any farther ahead, we wouldn't catch him because we were late in the game. So I was just trying to shut him down, and the next thing I know, you know, I struck out the side and come out again and did the same thing again.
4-1, behind, 1-0 tonight. Little different situation. We'll see how he handles it.
Meanwhile, George Orta will pinch hit for Motley. So here's an inning that hasn't even started, and we've had 3 changes. A pinch hitter, a new pitcher, and then a pinch hitter for the pinch hitter. Orta looks at a strike on the outer half. Balboni on deck, and then Sundberg. 0-2. Nobody has ever struck out 7 straight over 2 games in the history of the World Series, and Worrell is a strike away from doing that.
Well, he has tremendous poise. When you talk about poise, especially about a young pitcher, you're talking about the ability to throw your stuff over the plate. So far in this World Series, all year, he's been able to do it.
Popped foul and curling back out of play. It'll be in about 12 rows. Sparky Anderson, the Tiger manager, interviewing Worrell on Good Morning America the other day, ended the interview, and I loved it. He said, "Todd, thank God you're in the National League, and stay there." Little squibber to the right side. Worrell races over to cover. The throw doesn't get him. Worrell got to the bag, and an argument here, and here comes Herzog amongst the other quartet. First base umpire is Denkinger, American League.
Well, this is spring training all over again. Any ball to the right side, you get there as quick as you can. I think he tries to go for the ball, and his argument is he gets the side of the bag. Looks like he's out.
From that angle, let's take a look from this one.
Again, Clark with the toss.
Oh, yes.
Right on top of the bag.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Only in one person's mind.
So Orta gets on, and Balboni is at the plate. Balboni has singled, flied out, and walked. You're in a funny situation here, too. Here's your power guy, but in a bunt situation, really.
Well, the classic line is you play to win on the road and tie at home, but only, again, the manager's job is to work within the limitations of his player. And I'm not sure if Steve Balboni can bunt.
And the Cardinals don't expect him to. He pops it up in foul ground, and Clark comes over to the dugout with Porter, and Clark doesn't know where he is and can't make the play. And what's happening in the ninth inning, and you can see the shoulder hunch, Clark has spent his whole career in right field. He has made a pretty good adjustment to first base, but he came off the bag, and I'm not saying he made the mistake on a Motley ball, but he's been involved now in the first 2 plays of the ninth inning.
Well, the mistake he makes is looking at Porter. By then, the ball is back over his head. Talked to him before the series. He said he really hasn't felt comfortable at first base, especially on throwing. There is another example.
0-2, and Balboni trying to hit that one onto the freeway.
And having the capabilities of doing that. We talked about the 96-mile-per-hour fastball. He also has an excellent slider, but he said in this situation, if you're going to get beat, and a home run will beat him, he said you got to go with number 1. Let's see if he does it.
McRae on deck. Base hit into left field. Orta stops at second. Herzog. Concepcion goes into pinch run. McRae had been out on deck. Now Sundberg returns to the on-deck circle. There is the pinch runner. Herzog has the 2 in the bullpen. Horton, the lefty who took Worrell's place out there, and the right-hander Lottie. So first and second, not only talking to Worrell, but talking about the bunt. He's going to leave him in as they discuss situation here. And McRae had come out on deck to bat for Sundberg. But in this situation, what Howser is telling you is that Sundberg's a good bunter, and he's going to try to get him along. And he's going to save McRae.
When you do bunt, and if Sundberg's successful, then Whitey can play his little game. They send McRae up. You can walk him. Again, the winning run is at first base.
Clark creeps in. So does Pendleton. Outside. Biancalana due up next.
Well, Tim McCarver has been talking all World Series about the difficulty of bunting on artificial turf. Take a look at the infielders when the pitch goes across home plate. They will be about 15 feet from home plate, trying to get that force at third.
That's outside, and it's 2-0.
You almost want Jim Sundberg to be able to bunt. There's been too many low strikes all night. Into the ball game. If you're Todd Worrell, you want Jim Sundberg to bunt the ball, but sometimes you just can't get the ball over home plate.
He bunts in the air, foul, and Porter can't make the play. And a break for Sundberg as he pops it up back to the screen. And that's one thing about a fastball coming in at 92 or 93 miles per hour, you will pop them far back.
Well, especially if it's up in the strike zone, and they tell you, of course, there's conflicting philosophies. If the guy squares around a bunt, he's more apt to pop up the high pitch.
He squares, he bunts to Clark, who lets it roll foul, and the count is 2-2. So Orta returns to second, Concepcion to first. Clark that time, you could almost sense it in his mind, wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with it for a second.
Another illustration of his inexperience at first base. Excuse me, at first base.
really compelled to swing away, though Pendleton remains shallow at third. Now he starts to back up. But he's going to bunt with 2 strikes. Lays it down. Worrell looks at third, throws, and gets him on a close play at third. And that couldn't be any closer. So the play goes 1-5, 1 out. Orta comes off, and McRae will come up.
Not a very good bunt, almost right back to Worrell, who breaks the wrong way. Again, no hesitation.
Good ball. Jim McKean, American League, calling that one.
Once again, not by much, but he was out.
All right, now McRae. The designated hitter pinch hits for Biancalana. Hal came up the other night and grounded out with the bases loaded in St. Louis. 1-0.
I wonder if Hal, coming up off Tudor the other night, swinging a very low pitch, bases loaded, is going to try to be a little more selective.
That gets away from Porter, and the runners move up. McRae's hands with second and third.
Certainly does. It almost looked like he crossed up Porter. First slider he's thrown tonight.
Pass ball is the ruling, so second and third, the tying run at third, the winning run at second. Porter with Worrell in the count 2-0.
As I said, maybe they did get their signs mixed up. Looked like Porter's looking fastball.
You can see the 4 fingers held up by Hal Lanier, indicating he doesn't have to hold up 4, he only has to hold up 2 because the count's already 2-0. So they'll walk McRae, and Dean Orge is out on deck to pinch hit. This is some boring World Series, isn't it?
Comes up, will Herzog come out?
Whitey, back to Lanier, Mike Rourke, trainer Gene Gieselman. Lanier signaling to the infielders as they align themselves here. Orge, a Cardinal in the 1982 World Series, and he had a terrific World Series.
5:59.
The infield double play depth short and second, and up at the corners, and there it is visually for you.
Play is if it's hit the first or third, you're coming home. You get the tying run. It's hit to the middle infielders. Most likely they'll try for 2 unless the only play they have is at the plate.
Concepcion at third, Sundberg at second. And it's low, ball 1. John Watson is the runner at first base running for McRae. He's important too because a force play, there he is. A force at second could be a big play. And that's a looper hitting the right field for a base hit. Concepcion scores. Here comes Sundberg. Here's the throw. He scores. We go to a the 7th.
hit that scored the first run for the Cardinals. And Slank, with one of the best arms in the National League, can't make a better throw. Great slide. Very similar to Game 5. To the outside.
He practiced that at Busch the other night for the go-ahead run. We'll be back. We'll talk to Dane Orge, among others. Let's go to Reggie Jackson.
Dane Orge, for me, please describe your attitude and describe your feeling about the base hit.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what went through my mind. It's how many kids get an opportunity to hit in that situation. I've dreamed about that all my life, and to be up there and to actually go through it was a thrill.
I will say that you might have thought about being a kid or thought about kids, but you certainly did a man's job. What happened to your nose?
Well, Mike Jones came right on the pile and drilled me in the nose and bloodied my nose, but I'll take it anytime I can get a hit like that.
Take a bloody nose like that all the time.
Anytime.
Dick Howser, please tell me about your Kansas City Royals. They just seem to keep coming back.
That's unbelievable. Reggie, you know, Charlie pitched one of his better games again. I was going to say he was snake bit, but he really wasn't. He kept us in there. He pitched a heck of a ball game. Nobody's out-pitched us in this series, and when we got down to the last inning, we had some old pros over there. George Arda, Hal McRae, Dane Orge, and a few more. Lynn Jones. So we were only down one run. We had our, we weren't in bad shape, really.
Dick, tell me about your decision to leave in Charlie Lee Brandt.
Yeah, it's just he's pitching so good, Reggie. Gosh, you send a pinch hitter up there. They did it. They got a base hit with 2 outs, but the way Charlie's pitching, we're going to win the ball game with Charlie Lee Brandt. He did a great job. If you send somebody up there hit, that's no guarantee he's going to get a base hit.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about tomorrow now with all the excitement of today? Can you get any higher?
Reggie, that's the way it's supposed to be. Brett Saberhagen and John Tudor, 2 20-game winners. It'll be a great ball game.
Thank you very much, Dick Howser. Thank you very much, Dane Orge. Fantastic, my friend. Tell me this. You felt snake bit. You were having some problems. You just couldn't seem to get a break. You were sitting up in the clubhouse watching. I was in the clubhouse. You were the only guy that was absolutely quiet until one time you yelled. Mention that to me.
Well, we just have had so many bad breaks in this series. We just haven't seemed to come up with a clutch hit or the clutch pitching. I know I pitched well, but I just haven't been able to come up with a clutch out late in the ball game. And we certainly did it tonight. I think the thing has turned around for us, and we got a couple of clutch hits to start the inning off, and Dane Orge was just terrific. And we're going to savor this one and come out and play as hard as we can tomorrow night.
I guess you can finally say that the Kansas City Royals have deserved one, Al. What more can you say? Momentum? Let's go back to Al.
Thanks, Ed. All we can say is that the baseball season will end tomorrow. Guaranteed.